Hey guys, so we have two review problems here. Let's start with the first one. A projectile is fired from a cliff of 500 feet above the water at an inclination of 45 degrees to the horizontal with a muzzle velocity of 400 feet per second. In physics, it is established that the height h of the projectile above water is given by h of x equals negative 32x squared divided by 400 squared plus x plus 500. So now, technically, students, you can rewrite this as this. The negative 32 over 400 squared times x squared plus x plus 500. Okay, so that's similar to what they're writing. Where x is the horizontal distance, make sure we know what x represents, of the projectile from the base of the cliff. So h, it defines h already. H is the height of the object, okay, above water. So part A says, find the maximum height of the projectile. Well, this is an x squared, meaning that it's a parabola. So if I have to guess, you're going to sketch it out and it should look something like this, okay? So x is your horizontal distance, y is your height. So if I'm looking for the vertex, that's the maximum height. So you can do by hand. So the vertex, x coordinate, the vertex is negative b divided by 2a, and your b value is 1, so that's going to be negative 1 all over 2 times a. A is negative 32 over 400 quantity square, okay? Now, at this point right now, I'm just going to bust out my calculator to see if I can make this slightly prettier than what I am looking. So that's going to be 2 times, I'm just doing the denominator to simplify, okay? 32 divided by 400 square times 2, and then 1 divided by that answer. So this is, students, 2500, okay? Because you have a negative divided by negative, so it's just positive. So x is currently at 2500. So to find the maximum height, then we plug it in. H of 2500 is negative 32 times 2500 square all over 400 square plus 2500 plus 500. Go ahead and use your calculator and crunch out the numbers. All right, so after using my calculator and enter that all in, I have an answer 1750. So the maximum height, students, is 1750 feet. Now let's just go and check with decimals really quickly. I've already pulled it up and I already entered in our equation. So if you look at the order pair, it says 2500 comma 1750. Now the height represents the y-coordinate, so make sure we are looking at the y-coordinate of 1750. So that matches our graph. So for this type of questions, you can use a calculator or you can work it by hand. Now let's go on to the next part of the review. So how far from the base of the cliff will the projectile strike water? Now to strike water, meaning that you're landing on the ground. So again, you can use algebra. Landing on the ground means the height is 0. So you can do negative 32 over 400 square x squared plus x plus 500, okay? So you can sit here and use the quadratic formula, which is x equals negative b, which is negative 1, plus or minus square root of b squared, which is 1, minus 4 times a is negative 32 over 400 square, times c, which is 500, all over 2 times a. So 2 times, again, a is negative 32 all over 400 square. Go ahead and use your calculator, punch it in. And then let's see if your answers match. All right, guys, so I pause a little bit. I use my calculator and I punch it in. This is all just basic calculator without graphing. And I have 2 answers, okay? One's negative and one's positive. As you know already, I'm looking for the horizontal distance when this object touches the water. Striking water means touching the water. So I can't really have a negative answer, right? Because that's a negative distance. So the object will strike water at about 5,458.40 feet from the base. So that's my answer for how far it had traveled. Now let's just quickly check our answer with the graphing calculator again, or decimals. And as you can see, this dot over here, when I click it, when the height is 0, it's at 5458.04. So 2 answers, algebraically and graphically, they are matching up. All right, so now let's This is a review. I'm going a lot quicker than normal because these are supposed to be review, okay guys? Review number 2. The Golden Gate Bridge, a suspension bridge, spans the entrance to San Francisco Bay. Its 746-foot tall towers are 42 feet apart. The bridge is suspended from 2 huge cables more than 3 feet in their diameter. So this is just extra information that we don't really need. We don't really care how big the cables are. The 90-foot wide roadway is 200 feet above the water. The cables are parabolic in shape and touch the road surface at the center of the bridge. Find the height of the cable at a distance of 1,000 feet from the center. So guys, for this one, as you can see, it's a parabola. So we will start with the standard form of the parabola, x minus h squared equals 4a times y minus k. Since I'm making the center at the origin, then it's just going to be straight up x squared equals 4a times y. Now, this one, I'm going to show you 2 different equations. And the reason is, the question says here, find the height of the cable at a distance 1,000 feet from the center. Now, it doesn't really said 1,000 feet from the center on the bridge or the height from the water. So that's why I'm going to give you both answers and I will accept both. So the first one is, I'm just going to go when it is above the bridge. And then the second one is when above the water, okay? So x squared equals 4a times y. We are going to use this order pair right there because that order pair will be above the bridge. So that's going to be 2100 squared equals 4 times a times 526. Now I'm going to solve for a. So that's going to be 2100 squared all over 4 times 526. That's going to give me 2104. That's my a value. Now let's plug it back into the equation. So x squared equals 4 times a. A is 2100 squared all over 2104 times y. As you can see, I'm not distributing out the 4 because that's really not my end goal. My end goal is really finding the height, which is the y value, when x is 1,000 feet from the center on the bridge. So this is where I'm going to plug in 1,000. So 1,000 squared equals 4 times 2100 squared all over 2104 times y. Now y is then 1,000 squared all over these fractions. So you do need to use your calculator and work this out cautiously, okay? And I get a y value about 119.27 feet. So this is the height, okay, from the bridge though, the height from the bridge when you're 1,000 feet from the center.